Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Toxicity, and welcome back to the Aussies on the Ball podcast, where today we are going to be talking about the NBA finals that are coming up. We're going to be pointing out a couple of Aussie guys that are in some of these playoff contention teams, and we're also going to be quickly touching on the Phoenix Suns. So, thank you guys for all the support and all the love over the first couple episodes of this podcast, and just all the videos out on the channel. After this weekend, this video goes up on Saturday, so most of these play-in games are probably going to be finished by then. So I'll have to do probably a recap next week. But yeah, it's been awesome to see the love and support. We're pausing the fantasy stuff after next week, and we're going to be doing two weekly episodes of the NBA elimination rebuild. So we're going to be doing a bunch of videos on that, where we basically have 3 years to go through each NBA team, make trades, draft, do all the things that we need to do to win, and then hopefully win a championship in 3 seasons. So if you guys are interested in that stuff, definitely subscribe and stick around for that. But without further ado, let's quickly touch on the Phoenix Suns. I know I've got the finals bracket up here on screen, but the Phoenix Suns have today, date of recording, 15th of April, they have fired Mike Budenholzer. So they owe him $10 million over the next 4 years, and they've had 4 coaches in 4 years, which is nuts to think about. This team is in a massive predicament. They are going to lose Kevin Durant this offseason, most likely. They now lose their head coach. They have Bradley Beal, who has a no-trade clause and is just soaking up $50 million a year. They have Devin Booker, who I'm surprised he's still sticking around. And I will love Phoenix, but if I was him, I would have wanted out a long time ago. And we also have Tyus Jones, who wants out, and a couple other younger players that want out too. The only bright spot they have on this team is the fact that they have Ryan Dunn, who's a young defender, but that's it. That's it. That's all I can think about. They don't own any of their draft picks coming up. They are in a horrible situation, and I'm unsure they're going to be able to fix it, and I'm unsure if they're going to be able to turn it around quickly, but it's going to be a massive surprise if they make playoffs in the next 6 years, let's say. Apologies, there was just a car alarm going off, and I had to go and check where that was coming off because I thought it was my car. So in terms of the NBA playoffs, we have a few play-in games which are going to be very interesting. The one I'm most excited, I know I'm a Mavericks fan, but the one I'm most excited about is actually the Bulls versus the Heat. Since the Luka trade, I've been watching the Bulls games a lot more, and I feel like this could be Josh Giddey's time to really explode. And if he wants to be serious about getting a massive contract extension this offseason, he makes sure they get through this round. And I know they own their first round pick. I know it's lottery protected. So if they make it through, they might lose that first round pick. But if they want any sort of ambition, any sort of drive, any sort of motivation, they win this game. And they can lose against the next team, but I feel like we just need to see what Josh Giddey can do in the playoffs. Moving over, we're still in the East, the Magic and the Hawks. I'm really interested to see how Dyson Daniels takes this game. I'm not sure how the Magic are going to roll out. I don't know if they're at 100% health or not, but the Hawks I'm very interested, and we know that Trae Young can turn it on in the playoffs. Without Jalen Johnson, I'm a little bit concerned, but I feel like the Hawks should win this one. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of an underdog story. The Hawks coming up against the Celtics would be kind of fun. Would be kind of cool to see. But obviously the Celtics will beat them. But another story. So yeah, I feel like the Hawks and the Bulls will win their first matches. And then we'll have the Magic and the Bulls, where I just feel like the Magic are a better, well-rounded team compared to the Bulls. And if the Hawks surprise the Magic, I feel like they'll come back and switch it on a little bit and beat the Bulls. So all up, we're going to have the Cavs coming up against the Magic, and we're going to have the Hawks versus the Celtics. So that's kind of what I'm thinking happens here. And then on the other side of the bracket, you have the Warriors coming up against the Grizzlies, which is going to be really entertaining. Steph coming up against Ja. You have Draymond, you have Jaren Jackson, you have Jimmy Butler now on the Warriors. I feel like the Warriors will get this done. I feel like they will get through and win this. Maybe not comfortably. Maybe this will be the closest game apart from the Magic and the Hawks. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting series for sure. So I'm saying the Warriors get through and they play the Rockets. And then on the other side of the bracket, the Kings and the Mavs. I feel like if the Mavs are at full 100% health, and this is me trying not to be biased, I feel like they win. I don't know if the Kings can rely on Levine and DeRozan in the finals. They, I think, are still a couple moves away from needing to be back into playoff contention. The Mavs with AD, Lively, Gafford, PJ, I think that is a little bit too big. And I don't think the Kings have the defense to kind of hold up and take that on. So I'm going to say the Mavs win, and the Mavs and the Grizzlies, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mavs lose here. But if they get on a run, I think AD can turn it on. And I think the defense of the Mavs will stand up. I don't know. Okay, this is going to be tough. I'm going to say the Mavs win. I'm going to say they go through to the playoffs and they face off against the Thunder. And with Dante Exum on the team, any other Aussies around in these 4 teams? I don't think so. I could be wrong. So moving into the playoffs then, obviously we have the 1-seeded Thunder now taking on the 10th-seeded Mavericks. The Thunder are almost at 100% health, I think, which is crazy. They have just destroyed the NBA this year. They are so dominant, and I hate to say that as a Mavs fan, but I feel like this is their finals to lose. They've had that experience last year. They had the taste of defeat. They had the taste of the finals atmosphere, the pressure, everything. And if it wasn't for a PJ Heater game, they would have won last year. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. Moving on, we got the 4th-seeded Nuggets coming up against the 5th-seeded Clippers. I feel like this is going to be a really interesting game. I feel like if the Nuggets lose this, there's a lot of big changes they're going to make in the offseason. Obviously, they just fired their head coach, but the Clippers have more to lose, I think. They have Harden, who I think is a free agent at the end of this year. They have Kawhi Leonard, who's been healthy towards the back end of the season. And they have a bunch of guys that are a bit older that should hopefully stand up in the finals. Ben Simmons is on the Clippers, obviously. I'm unsure how he's going to go in the finals because, his downfall in his career was that finals playing for Philly. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. The 3rd-seeded Lakers coming up against the 6th-seeded Timberwolves. This is going to be really interesting as well. Anthony Edwards and LeBron James and Luka. It's going to be so cool to see these teams go at it. I'm not sure. I feel like Luka really has to go crazy for the Lakers to win. I feel like the Timberwolves are just more a well-rounded team. They have all their positions filled across the board, and they have that playoff experience. They have that playoff depth, and I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see how they go. Obviously, you have Joe Ingles on this team. You have the Patty Mills on the Clippers as well. Probably their last seasons in the NBA. Wouldn't be surprised if they call it quits at the end of the year. And then the Rockets, they're going to be facing off against the Warriors, which is going to be pretty interesting. Kind of similar to the Thunder. I feel like the Rockets are the Thunder of last year. I feel like they're a bit too young. They need some playoff experience. They might be taken to maybe game 6 against the Warriors, but I feel like they get the job done. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one goes. I feel like Jimmy Butler will shine, but I feel like they win, and they have to win because they don't own their 1st-round pick this year, I don't think, but they own some Phoenix picks moving forward, which is good for them. So coming out of the West, it's hard not to go past the Thunder, but part of me just thinks there's going to be a Luka redemption angle that takes the Lakers to the next level this offseason, makes them go absolutely crazy. So coming out of the West, who have we got? I'm going to say the Thunder. I'm going to say the Thunder get through. They'll be the Western Conference Finals champions. Now moving back to the East. So the Cavs coming up against the Magic. The Magic, yeah. I feel like the Cavs sweep that. I feel like they're just a team exactly like the Thunder that they're so perfect. They've got all their positions covered. They got good depth. They got good backups. They got playoff experience. I feel like this is going to be a series where they really stamp their authority on the league. Donovan Mitchell, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Donovan Mitchell. He's taken a bit of a step back this year and allowed Evan Mobley and Darius Garland to really take a step forward. Maybe he turns it on in the playoffs and just shows people who he really is. Now, the Pacers and the Bucks, the loser of this has a lot of questions, that's for sure. The Pacers are a little bit younger, so maybe they can, I don't know, create like a story for themselves heading into next year. But the Bucks, without Dame, I don't know if the Bucks can do it without Dame, and I don't know how long Dame's out for. Giannis, if they lose this series and are eliminated first round, does Giannis turn around and say, "Hey, send me somewhere else. Hey, we need to trade Dame," because they picked up Kyle Kuzma. They've got a very expensive team. They got a very old team, Brook Lopez and some of these other guys. So, I got the Pacers winning this. I got the Pacers getting through. I feel like the Bucks are going to be a big story this offseason. What do they do? Where do they go? This is going to be another fun rebuild we do once they get eliminated. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. And now the 3-seeded Knicks and the 6-seeded Pistons. The Knicks have a lot to lose in this series. They have an insane amount to lose. If they lose this against the Pistons, what do? They've got a very expensive team. They've paying Cat now. They're paying OG. They're paying Mikal Bridges. They're paying Brunson. They have quite an expensive list, quite a growing list that's going to be a bit older. Josh Hart and those guys. The Pistons are just here for fun. And this could be a Cade Cunningham legacy game. Cade Cunningham could set this show on fire and show that the Pistons are really here. I think the Knicks win, but I think they get pushed to a 6 or 7 series game here, and the Pistons really show out. But the Knicks get the job done. I feel like they have a lot more to lose. If they lose, I don't think Tibbs has a job next year, and I could see a couple more changes being made. Now, the Celtics coming against the Hawks, I think the Celtics just walk past the Hawks pretty easy. This is the hardest division that I think. The West has a lot of teams that could potentially turn it on, but they have one really dominant team that I think is just primed to take this playoffs by the ears and just show everyone who's boss. The East, I think the Cavs, the Knicks, or the Celtics could get through, and it could be an upset. We could see the Pistons like make it through to the Eastern Conference Finals if it really worked that way for them. So, and if Dame does come back, I feel like the Bucks could go on a run. But I'm gonna say the Cavs get through, and that's just more on an entertainment value. And I know that the Celtics and the Thunder might be a little bit more fun, but I feel like the Cavs will be a little bit different coming up against the Thunder. So, yeah, the Cavs are going to be the Eastern Conference finalists, in my opinion. And we're going to have a Thunder, Cavs, the 2 1 seeds going up against each other, which is going to be interesting. Now, coming from this bracket right here, I could see the Nuggets and the Clippers going to game 6 or 7. I could see the Lakers and the Timberwolves definitely going to 6 or 7. The Pacers and the Bucks, potentially. I feel like that's going to be a 5-game series. And the Knicks and Pistons, if that goes to a 7-series game, that's going to be insane. That's going to be one of the best playoffs we've seen in a long time. But there's so many storylines coming out of this playoffs. Like, is Tibbs going to be on the Knicks next year if the Knicks don't get it done? Will the Celtics trade a couple of their older guys? Because obviously they've got that cap space that they need to try and get back. The Pistons, are they just a one-time flash in the pan? If they win a series, are they going to be back next year? If they lose a series, are they going to go for a star? Are they going to try and attract someone to them? The Pacers, the Bucks, what's going to happen there? The Cavs, if they lose in the first round and they somehow lose against the winner of the play-in tournament, are they going to blow it up? Are they going to trade Darius Garland? Are they going to trade Donovan Mitchell? It's going to be interesting. The Thunder, are they really the team that everyone expects them to be? Or are they just an in-season team? Like, that's going to be the massive, massive agenda on their behalf. Are they going to actually prove people wrong? Or are they going to lose again and have to try something new next year? Is Jalen Williams actually going to be the second star on this team and help Shea? Because Shea can't do it all by himself. And I know Shea normally has the blessing of the whistle, but that's a joke. I'm not going to go into that anymore. The the Nuggets. The Nuggets fired their head coach. Does Jokic say, I want to play with an all-star? Let's trade. Let's fix this team up. The Clippers, they've had their season in the new arena. Do they blow it up? Do they say, hey, Kawhi, James, Harden, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Luka and LeBron. Is this LeBron? If LeBron and the Lakers get through and they win a chip, is this LeBron's last year, or does he go again? Luka, does Luka go absolute crazy in this offseason to prove Nico Harrison and the Mavericks wrong? I don't think they're going to lose in the first round. And the Timberwolves and the Mavs went to war last year. So Anthony Edwards has a lot to prove. Rudy Gobert has a lot to prove. Do they keep Naz Reid this offseason? Do they make some more moves? Like, it's going to be insanely interesting to see how that goes. The Rockets, like I said before, I feel like the Rockets are in that kind of thunder of last year where they've got all these young players, and I feel like I know they have Fred VanVleet and these guys, but I feel like they need to maybe make a couple of moves to bring in some more older players. Like, Steven Adams is great, but I feel like they could have another mentor for Şengün. And yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see what they do. But after this year, looking at this bracket, I feel like if the Kings lose, they're going to do some massive changes this offseason. The Mavs can't really do any... If the Mavs lose the play-in, does Anthony Davis get to this offseason and say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. You guys sold me on this idea, and this idea is gone. It's faded away. The Warriors, they are so old at the moment. They're going to have to fight next year as well to make a playoffs, but this could be the last hurrah. They have Jonathan Kuminga, who they need to pay this offseason too. What's going to happen with them? The Grizzlies, I could see them just coming back next year. I could see them just taking this experience and moving forward. Zach Edey, Jalen Wells, those guys developing a little bit. The Bulls, if they lose in this game to the Heat, is this the season where they finally blow it up? Do they get to this offseason? Do they pay Josh Giddey, or do they move on? Do they say, hey, Josh, go sign wherever you want. We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to tank. The Heat. The Heat have Tyler Hero. They have Bam. They have Andrew Wiggins now. What are they going to do with that? Is this going to be something that they trade? Do they try and get a third star? Or do they try and find other depth pieces? Like, they've got the Terry Rozier contract. They've got all these contracts and big money just floating around. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. And then the Magic and the Hawks. I feel like the Hawks, the Hawks have a pass this year, I think. Without Jalen Johnson in their team, they would have I feel like they would have pinched the 6th seed if they have Jalen Johnson on their team. So they have a bit of a pass. If they lose this, they might make some big changes, but I feel like they just have to run it back. Reece Shah's second year. The Magic, though, if the Magic lose this and they lose the next game as well, they're going to have to really think what they want to do. So Paolo, they have to pay him this year or next year? I think it's next year. So Jalen Suggs, his contract extension kicks in, and I know he's not playing at the moment. Wendell Carter, what do they do with him? Franz, do they keep the Franz and Paolo thing going? KCP was a failure unless he's going to switch it on in the playoffs. There's just agendas everywhere. But if you guys want my pick, if you guys want to know who I think is going to be winning the finals, as a Mavs fan, I'm going to hate to say this, but I think the Thunder win. I think the Thunder walk away NBA champions, and Shea will be a finals MVP. I think they just get it done. And the scary thing is, they have picks next year. They have the Clippers picks. I think they have their own picks. They have a couple other picks that could correlate. They could come across and be top 15 picks. They had that pick from Philly as well, but I think that's lottery protected. And Philly, I think, have finished low enough to not really be spooked about that. I think it's top 6 protected. I could be wrong. But yeah, there's agendas everywhere. And I know this is going up after the play-ins, so I'm going to comment down below my thoughts on the play-ins once this video goes live. But this is going to be a crazy NBA Finals, and I feel like this offseason is going to be huge. So we're doing this podcast every fortnight. I'm going to be posting my thoughts, my opinions, and everything on the offseason. We're going to be talking about the Aussie boys a little bit more. I know in today's video, I just mentioned Josh Giddey, mentioned Dyson Daniels. Obviously, you have a couple other players around, but I don't think they're going to get huge minutes in the playoffs. Maybe Jock Landale might be a backup center on the Rockets, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're my thoughts. Let me know down below, who have you got winning each division, the East, the West? Who have you got your finals MVP, and who have you got your outright winner? There's going to be a lot of fallout after the play-in, so next fortnight's video is going to be crazy entertaining and crazy fun. But I'm looking forward to the NBA Finals. I'm looking forward to talking about this offseason, and obviously we're going to be pumping out some NBA videos. So thank you guys for all the love and support and continued love and support. I'm going to keep posting these videos because I really love just sitting here talking about NBA. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this offseason. Leave a comment down below if you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.